All right. Hi, everybody. So it's funny. I thought that I was talking to you guys for a little bit, but apparently I wasn't. There we go. I'm just getting the chat window up, and I don't really like the one that's in StreamYard. I find that it's not big enough, and I know it's a little weird, but it's not big enough for me. All right, let me just increase this a little bit. So we got Jeffrey Wack in here. Chad Holly. Another one. Took a moment. All right, cool. So what am I? No, you're asking Chad what he's drinking now, but I'm going to answer your question anyway. So I got a weird slew of different whiskeys here based off that last stream. You can see some of them. I've got the 1792 full proof. I've got the Redbreast 12, Redbreast cask strength, cask strength, and then the Larceny barrel proof, which I kind of wish that they would just choose a phrase like cask strength, barrel proof. It's the exact same freaking thing. All right, I'm going to jump into some of the Redbreast here and do a little bit of a comparison for you guys. So before I jumped on the stream over on Perry's channel, I was recording my episodes on Redbreast 12 and Redbreast cask strength. So I happen to know quite a bit about those. That didn't work. And let's go ahead and taste them. All right. One thing I love is when you can smell a glass and know what was in it. Now, it's not something that you could do without knowing what your options are, I'm sure. But I'm kind of excited for this because the 12 versus the 12 cask strength should be about as similar as you can get. So let's see who's coming in here. Hey, Bill. Hey, everybody. After party. Not sure how much longer I'll make it, but I'll hang in there a little while longer. Don't worry. I'm not very entertaining, so it won't take very long. Let's see. Finally made the boxes different. I don't know what oh, yeah, they did. Yep. Finally get to join one of these live streams, and I'll pour a Redbreast cask strength for you and join. Awesome, Jeffrey. That's great to hear. So I will say I am a big fan of Redbreast. The regular Redbreast 12, maybe a little bit less so, but after it got to open up for a little while, it got a lot better. Right out of the neck pour, not as big of a fan. So this is very good. But that cask strength, man, let me tell you. So why don't I just kind of talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's been going on in my life lately. I was not able to do any of the live streams earlier because kids and timing and all that stuff. Although my wife did tell me I could go on at 7 if I wanted to, but you know, I occasionally worry more about like, hey, daddy couldn't put me to bed because he was drinking. You know, that's not the way I want it to be. Anyway, so I am starting finally to build a studio in my basement, and I bought a table. For those of you that are patrons, you saw that today, and wow, you've been drinking for 8 hours, Steve. I'm impressed. I bought a table, and I'm going to go buy some kind of like a facade for behind me, and probably put up some shelving and stuff, something fairly simple. I do have a really cool idea, though. So one thing I'm going to make kind of unique to my own studio here that none of the other whiskey tubers have. So if they do it, they stole it from me. I'm going to put up a cork board. In a lot of these distilleries, when you end up seeing them, they have pins. And I'm going to stick the pin in the cork board. And as I kind of visit and get to know more distilleries and talk to different ambassadors, they'll stick their pins into that board. And eventually that thing will have a ton of different pins in it. I think it's a cool idea. So anyway, so here's the Redbreast 12. It's very good. My kids are old enough to drink. Yeah, that definitely changes the situation for sure. Yeah, I'm with you, Jeffrey. Whiskey does kind of redefine the man cave. Now, I think it's a little bit more whiskey tubing, actually recording yourself. So my wife and I were having a conversation today because I was telling her what I wanted to do. I basically have like this corner of the unfinished part of the basement that I want to convert into this studio. And as we were talking, she wasn't like crazy about the idea of me like making these permanent changes, and that's fair. Eventually we want to finish that area. But, I started talking to her about like what I wanted to do and how I wanted to make it look. And I don't know, like I kind of was shooting for the stars here. And kind of forgot where I was going with that. Wow, didn't realize how much I've already drank. That last stream was a lot of fun. Let's see. I've already put corkboard on in my studio. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea. Not sure how good Redbreast 80 proof will be after this near hazmat ECBP. That's fair. Sizer's man cave is legit, and I don't even smoke cigars. Yeah. Now, here's a question: most of you guys smoke cigars? I don't smoke very often. I probably could count the amount of cigars I've ever had in my life on both hands, but it's pretty good stuff. Certainly goes well. Kind of dipping the cigar in some peaty scotch. At least that's what I did. And a friend of mine is way more into cigars. He's almost as into cigars as I am into whiskey. And he kind of walked me through that not the first time, but my most recent time, which for the amount that I kind of learned about the etiquette and the ritual of smoking cigars, may as well have been. Not as think as I drunk. Hey, Eric, do you want to come join in? You're welcome to join. I'll send you a link. So the way I feel about just drinking one thing all night and diving into it, I do feel like that's pretty good. And I'm a fan. I do that as my normal episodes. So I tend not to do that so much on my channel while I'm doing live streams. Sorry, I'm distracted here. I'm trying to send Eric a text here. Unless he says I shouldn't. Okay, he says okay. Give me a minute. All right, so let me grab the link real quick. Crap, I don't even know how to do that. Crap, give me a sec. I know you guys all love Eric. He's awesome. So all right, I got the link. I'm going to text him. Sorry, I know this is riveting. Eric, wait. There you are. Apparently, the last time I texted you, I was sending you a StreamYard as well. All right, cool. Anyway, so drinking one thing doesn't particularly interest me on a live stream. I like to go all over the place. I like to go crazy. I like to get a little drunk. I like to have some fun. Eric had an epic stream last night. Yeah, I heard about it. I did check it out for a little bit, but I did not watch the 4 hours that it ended up being. I think I went to bed, which is saying something. He's about 3 hours behind me. So I was at this furniture store. This is part of the reason I brought this up. So when I bought that table, I went out today and I bought that table, and my wife and I and my two kids were there. Damn it, Gregor. The glove is down in the basement. I'm not going to go get it, but next time I will, I promise. So while I'm in the store, there's a lady kind of like looking at the couches and stuff, and she does a dry cough. And I'm just like, oh my God, fucking coronavirus, right? So I'm like, ushering my kids and my wife away. I'm like, don't get near this diseased lady. So I don't know. I also have been not particularly partaking in the insanity of some of these people. I have been going to the grocery store. I've got a couple of times, bought some of the essentials that you would imagine, like, the not toilet paper like everybody else. We have plenty of that, but more like the non-perishable soup and stuff. But I haven't been going too crazy. But I will say my house is extremely well stocked right now, which is nice. All right, so let's see. I'm beginning in bourbon, and I really like Knob Creek, so enjoy the videos of the different whiskeys you do reviews on. So thanks, Turk. I really appreciate that. Knob Creek. What do you guys all think about Knob Creek? I'm interested because I don't have the same opinion that a lot of people seem to have. I'm not as big of a fan of Knob Creek, especially the rye. I'm less of a fan of that. How many rolls of TB can you fit in a whiskey barrel? That's a good question, Jamie. I bet that would be fairly easy math to do. I like it, but it's not my favorite. Yeah, okay. So Knob Creek, for those, most of you know it, but so Meredith, no, I do not have a usual time for live streams. I actually don't usually live stream. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to. Let me put it this way. If I live stream, it's Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time. but I do not do it every week. I will probably start doing it more frequently now, once I finish getting my studio all up and going. The problem is I'm in my kitchen and my kids are like right above me. And so if I'm too loud, then they wake up and it's a problem and blah, blah, blah. I also have to set up all my gear and I tear it down after I'm drunk, and that's just no fun. So the whole thing is misery. So it doesn't make as much of a fun live stream. But now, see, Jeffrey, you've got an interesting take on the Knob Creek, because if you're getting 13 to 15-year-old barrel picks, then I could see that as making it worth your time. I'm not entirely sure that it's worth my time. I tend not to get the barrel picks because they don't make sense to cover a local barrel pick on the channel. It just doesn't, right? Like if I'm describing the nosing and the tasting and blah, blah, blah of something that none of you can get, that's not interesting, or at least I wouldn't think that would be interesting. So fun fact, today's Saturday. It's still Saturday. It's 11 o'clock. My 5-year anniversary is on Monday of the whiskey dictionary. So that's the thing. I'll be putting out a specific video on Monday for that. So, but as far as Knob Creek goes, I don't really love it. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just unimpressive to me. There's so many good things. Now, the price point does make it a little bit worth it, but it's not something that I really even go back to. I've got a Knob Creek regular bourbon back there, and I've got a rye back there as well. But I don't know. All right. What is a sufficient amount of bourbon bottles for a quotient? I don't know. Maybe he's talking with somebody else. KC picks for $50 are consistent. All right. I get that, Bill, but I still love watching single barrel reviews because I want to maybe see how different they are from the bottles I have tried. That's fair. Yeah, I know that you kind of do those a little bit more than I do, Chris. By the way, well, never mind. You already told me why you're not joining. If you want to join sober, you're more than welcome to. But I get that it would be a little bit of pressure. Knob Creek store pick at 55 or Booker's at 85. The recent price increase might have priced me out of Booker's. Well, Jeffrey, if you've noticed, I have not been covering Booker's on my channel. Part of the problem is, speaking bluntly with you guys, I was getting a lot of the bottles for free. I had a contact who was sending me stuff, and that helped. But it kind of started to skew my opinion. When I'm not personally paying $80 for a bottle of Booker's, it becomes a little harder for me to recommend it. Because what I try to do is run this channel in a way that everything that the channel makes as far as money goes is going back into the channel. And so I use the profit from the channel to buy bottles. So essentially, if you think about it, I'm making, whatever I make, and then I end up having to be more conscientious of what I purchase. So when I do that, it's great. If I go buy a bottle for $110, it's something that I know I really want. Like the Yellow Spot, right? That was $107, and that was a debate for me. And when I ultimately suggested that you do buy it for over $100, it was something that meant something. I was essentially thinking back to when I was in my early 20s and every dollar really counted. And I like that. I like that manner of thinking. But when I think about Booker's, there's a lot of Booker's I would not pay $80 for. I just don't think that their quality has been that good lately. Some of the later 2019s were okay. But for me, I don't know. They kind of lost some of my faith. I don't buy their bottles without, just blindly anymore. So I don't know. That's my opinion on Booker's. I don't think that them upping their price again for another $5 is worth it, because I think it's ultimately not worth $85. I don't even think it's worth $80. Hi, Eric.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I finally recovered from last night.
Yeah, it took you about 12 hours.
Man, I've been napping like a cat all day long and resting. I really don't like doing that because you lose a whole day just because you feel like crap the next day and whatever. So I've been kind of chilling. But here I am at it again, raring to go.
I love it. I'm glad that you're here.
Anyway, and I'm wearing green for the Irish occasion.
Well, I appreciate that.
There you go.
I think I might have just closed the wrong chat. Correct. Oh no, I'm still in the right one. All right, good.
Okay.
Round 2, Eric. Wait, good.
Ching ching.
What was that?
Ching ching. Round 2.
So you got the Redbreast 12. All right.
Yeah, Redbreast 12, and then I have a mini of the Connemara.
I'm gonna go get my bottle. All right, give me a minute.
But I'll keep the folks entertained.
All right, cool. Give me 2 seconds. Do you have any other Irish whiskeys that I should grab?
No. In fact, that's one of the things I need to do is go to Ireland and bring back some.
Nice. I'll be right back.
So there's 3 major areas of whiskey that I need to explore more: Ireland, Canada, and Japan. But I'm planning on hopefully maybe next year go to Ireland, then make a trip back to Scotland. I don't know about going to Japan, but anyway, so I basically set up trips to both Canada and Ireland, and then it's just a matter of plugging in the dates. But in terms of scheduling distilleries to visit, where you're going to drive, where you're going to stay, all those sort of details, I've kind of got all that figured out.
Sorry to interrupt, Eric. Chad and Tony, thank you very much for the super chats.
There you go.
But Chad, that's wonderful. I think that's hilarious.
There you go.
All right. So you said you're going to Canada?
Well, I was saying you were asking me if I had any more other Irish whiskeys, and that thing is the two major categories I don't really have a lot of is Canada and Ireland, and what I really want to do is go there.
Okay.
So I've mapped out where I want to go, where to stay, all that kind of stuff. It's just a matter of plugging in the dates.
Cool.
And I'm not going to have time for it this year, or probably 2021. And I'm planning to go back to Kentucky, actually visit more right around Christmas time. Anyway, so yeah, Irish whiskey, is a category I haven't spent a whole lot of time on. I've done a few reviews. I have a general merit. I haven't even got started yet.
I was going to say, boy, that's still hitting you. Huh?
Yeah. So Bill, excuse me, Daniel and Rex just did a thing on their favorite Irish whiskeys. And Daniel mentioned this book that he met the author of on Irish whiskey, but he doesn't mention the book or the author. And I'm like, what's the book? What's the book? So I put a text in there. Hey, what's the book? So I would like to get that book. I have one book on Irish whiskey, and the print is this big. And so unless I'm going to read it with a magnifying glass,
So can I mention the irony of the fact that you just complained about this and then again didn't mention the name of the book? Or do you know it now?
Oh, no, I don't. It's okay. All right.
I figured he texted you back.
It's in my library. No, I haven't heard back from him. Back from him. Those guys are busy.
So I actually met, what is it? I think, does he call himself Dr. John? No, Dr. Hold on. Give me 2
I know what you're talking about. It's Livermore. John Livermore.
Yeah. So he has this thing. This is really cool. It's Dr. Don. So you guys have all seen a flavor wheel before, but he has one specifically for Canadian whiskey. It's not going to focus, but I thought this was fantastic because being a bit of a nerd, as most of us YouTubers are, not only does it talk about so it breaks it down, right? It says yeast, grain, and wood. All flavors come from that, right? One of those 3 things. Right. And then it goes out to say, for example, yeast can impart fruity flavors, and it breaks it down even more, say apricot, pear, banana, green apple, whatever. But then what I thought was really cool and where this takes it one extra step further is, for example, if you say, all right, the yeast gives a fruity note of pear or pineapple, that comes from ethyl caprolate, which is the element or the compound actually in this case that gives that specific flavor. And I thought that was fantastic. He's got probably about rough guess, maybe 80 different compounds here that actually give that specific aroma. And I thought that was cool to take it that one extra step further. Because that's the knowledge I want. I can tell you something tastes like apple, but I have no idea why. He was at the Whiskey Fest last year, and they had these breakout sections where you can go sit in on a lecture. And so I ran into him there,
and he said, "Hey, you're going to want to sit on my lecture." So he did a whole lecture series. Of course, most of it was, especially after, and it was after you've been going around sampling.
Of course,
so,
yes.
So okay, I've had 20 samples. Now I'm going to go try to listen to the lecture and pay attention. But we get to taste a whole bunch of whiskeys, including the Lot 40 cask strength, which you can't get here in the United States, although I now have a bottle. But yeah, it was really, really great. I got his notes. I got that flavor wheel. The one problem I have with the flavor wheel is mine's now all scratched up because I thought it was a scratch and sniff. I'm like, okay, I'm not getting it, man. I'm not getting it.
That would be the right way to make that thing even better.
Yeah.
So real quick, let me interrupt. So Kilco, you and I have been talking recently about you and I doing a stream together. If you want to go set up your gear, by all means, like let me know and I'll send you a link. It would be great to have you on the stream.
So this is I got the Redbreast 12. This is not the cask strength. I hear the cask strength is even better.
Oh yeah, I got it right here actually.
Oh okay. Oh, you have the cask strength? Cool.
I do. Yeah. Now is your bottle older? Hold it up again. It looks a little.
It could be just the lighting.
Yeah. See, you have the 12 on it. Mine actually says 12 on the bottom, like the word.
What about letters?
Yeah. Is your bottle? Mine's the B219. It'll be maybe in the top right. Mine looks like newer bottling than yours.
It could be.
Yeah.
Could be. I don't know. I'm amazed you noticed just from looking out here on the camera there.
Only because I filmed the episode right before I went live.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So, and the thing is if you really want to understand whiskeys and you got to do them blind. And I really don't have calibrated in my head Irish whiskeys the way I'd like to.
Yeah.
But other than, the Jamesons and the Tyrconnell and the ones we're all familiar with, the big ones. But one of the things I'm hoping is going back there is small producers. There's a lot of back there. If you look at an Irish distillery map, there's like 24 distilleries now, and there's even more that aren't on the map. So be able to bring back some that maybe aren't even getting out of the country or out because they're so small. Can I go into Texas and bring back bottles? Most aren't getting out. So, but we'll see how it goes.
So you're drinking the cask strength right now or the regular 12?
No, just the regular 12.
Okay, cool. All right. So I actually just finished my glass only because I already had one poured.
And this is at 40 ABV.
Yep.
40 ABV.
Yep. I have no idea what this is. I have like 6 glasses here, and I can't tell what this one is. It's
Don Lorenz has most of sourcing right now. That's
the thing I found interesting about Irish whiskey is that unlike say like in America where there are definitely people who frown on the idea of MGP, I think some of us have gotten used to it because most people adjust it, for lack of a better term, after they get it or they dictate what the mash bill should be, whatever, you customize it. But if you just take MGP and you're like, this is my product, like that's crap.
A label on it, right?
But like in Ireland, pretty much everybody's just like, oh yeah, no, totally, it's Cooley, or it's there's a couple of things that it could be, and most people don't care. And I don't know. I find that interesting. It's just a whole different kind of culture. But I think there's 9 new Irish distilleries opening up.
I think there are. I don't know. It's kind of hard to get information. Websites aren't always up to date.
Yeah.
So, but I think there are enough distilleries there who are releasing their own whiskeys to spend a week there. So you could go over there, spend a week in Ireland, and then it's an hour flight from. My brain is not the best today.
Dublin
to get to Glasgow.
Okay.
From the biggest city there in Ireland.
Dublin.
I knew it began with a D.
Dude, we're all okay. We understand.
I'm not drunk. I'm just.
Nobody here is judging. You've had a hard morning.
I've been sleeping like a cat all day, off and on all day.
Are you a coffee drinker, Eric?
No, I'm a coffee consumer. I went through a half a pot today already.
Good man. Yeah, me too.
And I was gonna have some more this afternoon. I thought, nah, I need to get my stuff. So okay, so Donald Rant says West Cork, right? Yep. Walsh, Bushmills, the Middleton are the main producers right now.
Yeah. Well, so I kind of went a little bit on a soapbox, and those of you that see my video coming out tomorrow, you'll see this about Redbreast and Bushmills. Because one thing that I think it's starting to bother me when I'm researching these brands, specifically Scotch and Irish. Heritage is basically the only thing that matters to them, right? And they'll push the story of when they were founded to as far back as they can as they can reasonably go. Right. They'll be like, oh, well, on this plot of land in 1692, somebody found a rogue blade of wheat, and so we or barley. So we, can say we've been growing barley on this plantation forever. Right. It's just like, no, that doesn't count.
Right.
Like,
and bourbon, I mean, bourbon's that way, and bourbon, a lot of bourbon stories are quite fictional,
I think is the right word. Yes.
So I like, I've been watching Ancient Alien Astronaut thing on the YouTube channel, and I love it. I mean, I can't believe people actually, buy into all that stuff. But so I've been to some of the places that show up. They show these, the giant standing stones, and it weighs 50 tons. There's no way they could have moved it here. It must be an alien or whatever. So if I was to start a distillery, I would lean into that, and I would claim that our origins actually go back to ancient alien astronauts. And the thing is, if you look at the shape of a still, particularly say like.
It's like an obelisk, right?
Still, some of them look, like a freaking flying saucer.
Right.
They look like a flying saucer, and some of them, when the spirit comes back down,
the watch still.
No, still goes up like this. There's a bulge, and then it goes back.
It begins with an R.
I meant my words.
Wait, we look the same.
And
right
we're both doing like this. Anyway,
reflux
bowls. Thank you, Jason. Somebody here should have got those shit. Yeah, the reflux. It kind of looks like a flying saucer as well. It cracks me. And then the standing stones. I would totally lean on it. Make it. If you're gonna make up some crazy ass story and you want to go ancient, at 50,000 years ago on this plot of land, this is where the aliens landed, and they built all this stuff here. And that's where I heard it. Forget the Vikings. Lean into the ancient alien astronauts story, man.
I'm a little surprised there's no Roswell rye or something,
Right.
That place, if nowhere else, is all about merchandise. So Revealing Hawk asked a question I don't have a good answer to, but I'm hoping that you might, Eric. Ever tried George Dickel rye? If so, how does it compare to other rye whiskeys? I've actually never had it.
I've never had a George Dickel that I can think of. There's a lot in the bourbon and rye world that I haven't explored. Mm-hmm. I have that again. That's another category. I pondering it is doing a whole month or so on rye. But for me, I think I could very quickly burn out on rye.
Yeah,
it's so big, it's so spicy, it's for me, it's more of once in a blue moon, you're in the mood for it, and so you have it, and then when you're in the mood for it, it's like having a root beer. Every once in a while, I feel like having a root beer. Every once in a while,
yeah, that's right.
But I don't want to drink it every day.
Yeah, it's funny. I think in the future, at some point, I'll be done with the channel. Right? I have no idea when that'll be, years or whatever. Right. And I think to myself, I'm like, I'm going to have like 100 bottles of whiskey, maybe plenty more. And I'm like, that's going to take me a really long time to go through, because most of my bottles of whiskey have been open for quite a while, because I open them, I drink them, I try them, and I evaluate them, and then I do a video on them. And then they usually sit until maybe there's some sort of collaboration style video, or somebody mentions something like the Foolproof 1792. I pulled this out today for an earlier stream. I haven't actually put out my video on it, but I recorded it like a week ago. Real quick, Kilco, I sent you a link in Discord. Go check it out there, and you can join in. And a lot of these bottles, like, I'm not going to get back to for quite a while, even if I like them. But with the rye, to your point, a lot of them are very similar, even when they're different. It's kind of like, oh, that's a rye, and I guess it tastes like a pickle, or something like that.
Right.
A little bit of a.
So I have about 140 bottles. Most of them are open.
That beats me. I counted the other day. I have like 95.
Right.
But I've given a lot away to people I work with because I have limited storage. So that's part of it.
I might have to put in more shelves somewhere.
Right.
I'm getting there. I'm planning another Isla. I'm planning an Isla marathon, a 2-month-long Isla marathon. But by the end of that, I'll probably burn out and smoke and on the peat and smoke and peat and smoke and peat and smoke. Be ready to move on to something else. But
have you tried the black yet? The Ardbeg?
It'll be arriving, I think, on Wednesday.
Nice. I'm jealous.
On the 17th, whatever day.
I'm really kind of annoyed. So maybe like a week or two ago, I made a contact with Ardbeg. I had one, and he was fine. He's like the marketing director of the East Coast to the US or something like that. And he works out of New York, and usually he'll send me some of the not rare. He'll send me stuff of Ardbeg when it first comes out, and I usually can cover it pretty early. And I hadn't heard back from him about the black. So I met somebody in person recently, an ambassador, and he was like, yeah, I'll send you a bottle. And I haven't heard back. And I'm just like, oh, I'm missing that first crucial week. But oh well, at this point, like I actually just really want to drink it because I freaking love Ardbeg. But yeah.
So mine will arrive on Wednesday, but I'm not planning on starting my Isla thing until the end of March. So going into April. So I will taste it before then. But yeah, I understand in terms of getting first responses, but I'm not going to worry about that part.
Yeah. Well, the Scotch Test Dummies they got the first one, I think. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, that's fair for them. That's kind of their namesake. I'm okay with it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, and then I have a Galileo, and that I'm really. I did it. I cracked it open last night. Of course, it wasn't quite at my best in terms of perceiving its characters, but it seemed really, really nice. Yeah. So Donald Rance is asking about the Redbreast 12. I really, really like it. The funny thing is, it actually Real Spirits. I have a single malt from them out of Texas that I'll be reviewing, and I was just thinking in the back of my head, it actually reminds me a little bit of that. There's some similarities there. So let me ask you a question. So you've been doing a lot of Irish whiskeys. In terms of your overall impression of how much you like Irish whiskeys, where would you put that, or what do you think about that?
It's pretty far down the list. Irish whiskey, there's a lot of similarities between most of the expressions to the point where it's not as interesting.
You just lost all your Irish contacts.
What was it?
You just lost all your Irish contacts.
I know. That's fair. And actually, it's funny. Somebody, Kilbegan, is going to send me a ton of bottles pretty soon. I told him, I was like, I just did the Connemara. He's like, oh, do you want the 12 and the cask strength? I'm like, is the Pope shit in the woods or? So anyway, I'm getting some more stuff, but Irish whiskey. So right now, I think bourbon and Scotch, depending on my mood, are pretty equal, right? And then rye is there. Actually, I guess maybe I spoke too soon. I think rye and Irish are probably in the secondary category, and then Canadian. No, because Japanese is up there too. I probably should have thought about this before I just started talking, but I guess that's the downside of being on live. I mean, Japanese is fantastic, but the Japanese whiskeys, they tend to do one thing and they do it really, really well.
Right.
I mean, pretty much in all aspects. Like whenever you see somebody who's like, oh, who's got the top like Dance Dance Revolution score? Oh, it's some Japanese guy, right? But like that's the only thing he's done for 10 years.
Right. Or these little kids playing the violin or the guitar or something like that.
Right, exactly, yeah. All right, so Brian from Kilco is just joining us, and he's got a magnificent mustache. Hi, Brian.
Good to be here.
I like your T-shirt. I'm a big fan.
Oh hell yeah!
Yes,
so awesome. I used to work. I used to work for the NIN.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Narcotics Information Network.
I was going to say, really.
Yeah, it was. It's a segment as part of the DEA, Narcotics Information Network.
You broke my cover.
Flip around for a sec. I'm just trying to see if there's a better way than just that. I think that's a little better.
That's actually sort of the setting I like.
Yeah, I agree.
So I can show off my glory here. You know.
So Brian, you're also drinking the Redbreast 12. It looks like.
I am. It's my
The-
favorite other than the cast strength.
Nice. The older bottling too.
Yeah. Even got the box and everything.
Now, have either one of you guys tried the 15?
Yes. It's been a
No.
while though. I have.
How does the 15 compare to the 12?
I could say when I had a long time ago, I think I had really high expectations. I liked it, but once I think I had the cast strength first, and then I had the 15, and I really liked the cast strength so much because of the higher proof. So I don't dislike it, but it also costs a lot of money. So I was like, oh, that's good. I'd get it again if I could afford it.
So this is the extent of my Irish experience.
What is that you're holding?
Jameson, and then the Cooley collection, which is Kilbeggan,
Whoops, shit. Hold on. Sorry.
Greenmore, and Connemara. And I actually had two of these Connemara's. And these are minis. So this, a bottle of Jameson, and this. That's it. That's the extent of my Irish whiskey experience. So, like I said before, I really don't have a ton of experience with them. And these were all okay, but it's something I definitely want to. And I may have had some other minis. I don't remember. But it's time which I need to set up.
Shit.
I'm disappearing. I'm back. I'm gone. I'm over here.
Sorry, Eric. That was totally on me. I'm trying to remember how to use StreamYards. I was trying to make you like the main thing, and I accidentally clicked the wrong thing and removed you from the stream like 2 or 3 times.
It's part of my whiskey journey is I need to set apart a set of some time.
Yeah.
Focus on them, to read books, and sort of get immersed, kind of like a cultural immersion. Like if you're going to study a French language or German, you actually go there to be immersed in the language. Kind of like that with whiskeys. Go there and be immersed in the culture while learning about the whiskey. And that's kind of the approach I like to take to it.
That's one thing I love about you, Eric, is you actually walk the walk, Like you are such a
drink the drink and walk the walk, but sometimes at the same time you go like this.
Exactly. Well, that'll be good for the crooked streets of Dublin. Yeah. So, but that's one thing I love. It's like you went from wine, and then you were like interested in whiskey. All of a sudden, you're all about whiskey, and then you just travel to learn more.
You're right about a cult.
Yeah, it's great. So, Brian, I'm going to put you on the spot for a minute here.
Okay. No pressure.
So, you're fairly new. Tell us a little bit about your channel. What have you been doing? What's your current, just talk.
You want to hear the story?
Yeah.
The story is my father and I work on audiobooks. And there's this guy named Fred Minich, and he had us record an audiobook, and it was called Whiskey Women. And via my father recording it and me having to listen to it and edit it, we got very curious about this whole whiskey thing. Mm-hmm. My father especially was interested in something called the Frog because he'd seen all the commercials and stuff. I didn't watch TV. I was just interested in the history and the fact that we came across this at such a weird time in our lives where we're like, whiskey, why not? We're both, I'm 30 something at the time. My dad's creeping up on 70 at the time. And we get curious about whiskey. We got to record that book. I had to listen to the whole thing. And that's really what started the curiosity about it. And then having to hunt down the Frog. We finally found a bottle not far from where we live, thankfully, at a restaurant. We try it. My dad, of course, loves it. I, of course, do not hate it, which was surprising. I tried it and I was like, I was expecting much worse. So thankfully, we both have that kind of taste range where we can try something that's peated and not be absolutely leveled. But after having done that recording, I started looking at stuff online. And lo and behold, I found something called the Whiskey Vault. After that, it was mostly just watching as many of those episodes as I could. And this was right around when they started. So it was one of those things where I think it was the Modern Ruig episode. I caught Daniel talking. And then I found the channel, and then I just kept watching all the episodes and wanting to know more and wanting to try more. That's why all this is here. I didn't have this 3 years ago. And I was fortunate enough to be able to do at least 2 years of the Whiskey Advent Calendar, which is mostly how my channel even started, was just me personally recording me tasting these whiskeys for my own benefit. So like the earliest videos. Which
company did you go for the advent calendar?
The first one that was available was the Drinks. Was it Drinks by the Dram?
Yeah, the Master of Malt,
Master of Malt.
Yep.
That was the first one I was able to do. The second one was when it was the Tribe one with those unfortunate fellows who are not doing so well right now, but they had their own advent calendar. The Space Side calendar.
I forget the name of the company, but I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I have a glass and everything, but I can't remember what they're called. Secret Spirits. There we go.
Okay. Yep.
Those two got in trouble recently, I hear, unfortunately, but I was able to try that as well. And I just, did recordings in December and recorded myself experiencing whiskey for the first time. Literally, like each one, I'd never really gotten into it. I'd never really known if I could even drink hard spirits. My initial youth was, 100 proof SoCo, which I can never drink again. It was unpleasant, but ever since then, it's just kind of grown and evolved. I've gotten curious about it. I like the history of it. I'm very interested in Irish whiskey in general. It's got like my heritage in it. Like my whole last name is very Irish.
Yep.
Like the whole Kill Co thing is not because I kill anything. It's like my last name starts with Kill, and I've had problems with it being pronounced my entire life. So I just changed it to that. But it was never my intent to actually do a whiskey channel. It was just kind of my own experience. And then when I started enjoying it more, wanting to get more involved with community, the channels all around just started popping up all over the place. And I was like, well, I do this and I like it anyway. Mm-hmm. So why don't I just keep doing it? It's not for any real reason other than myself, but also for like mild entertainment. Nice. I have a background in theater and all that kind of stuff. I like to tell people my parents literally met on the stage playing husband and wife. I honestly owe my life to theater. So this is about all I can do for that, at least.
That's pretty cool. I like your story. That's good. Now, the funny thing is, after you and I talked for a little bit, we realized we only live probably about 45 miles, maybe 60 miles apart, about an hour apart.
About an hour, yeah.
Yeah. So we're one state. You're in Rhode Island. I'm in Massachusetts. So now, whereas Eric here, he's over in Crazy Land, California.
Well, we met up here. I flew down to San Diego to meet you.
I know. That was awesome. I wish that we could do that more often. I was so bummed. I was supposed to leave for San Diego tomorrow, and I had to cancel the trip because of this damn virus everywhere. As it was, I had to tell my whole team my company wanted us to divide everybody up into two different groups and every week switch the group that's actually physically in the office and have everybody else work from home. And I said, well, I think that's probably not a great idea. I'm just going to tell everybody to work from home for a month. So instead, that's exactly what I did, which meant that there was no longer a reason for me to go out to San Diego because I would have been the only person in the office. So yeah. So I had to cancel my trip, which kind of sucked because I was looking forward to going out to San Diego. It's always a fun time. But
yeah, I'm hoping all this stuff blows over by June because I'm supposed to be flying back to Texas.
Yeah.
I had to cancel my trip down there.
I'm planning on going to Disney in halfway through April, which Disney closed until the end of March or April 1st.
Oh, really? Is that just a seasonal thing or?
That's part of the coronavirus. They're open every single day. They make millions and millions of dollars every day. Right. But Disney, if we have to cancel, we'll be fine because they're offering refunds for everything.
Right.
I don't want to. My kids want to go to Disney, So
yeah, I guess I'd probably look into my airlines and hotels and rental car stuff. Well, the rental car isn't paid for to actually pick up the car.
Yeah,
they just hold it for you. But I'd have to look into everything else. But anyway, we'll deal with it when it comes.
Right.
Don't worry about it now. Got plenty of time. We'll see how this thing peters out. So these things
are things in good time.
These things
what I'm thinking. We'll handle the whiskey. Let somebody else figure out the vaccine. We're all doing our part.
Well, this is also they only have certain just like there's a flu season or cold season.
Right.
This thing will have a season. It'll sort of go away, and eventually life will go back to normal. So I'm not really worried about it. But
I'm not all that worried about it either. Although Eric, you're like 60 years old, right? So you probably
what?
You're in that high risk group.
I'll be 54 in July.
7.
I'll be 54 in July. old.
Who wants to drink some Connemara?
Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to finish this, and then I'll get into it. So I just poured my Connemara in my glass. I have one of my.
I'm so happy that you have that, Brian.
It's one of my favorites.
All three of us will be able to drink it.
I have one of my pre-beard day coins.
Oh, nice.
And I have new ones coming out. If you look at the icon on my channel and so forth, that's exactly what the coin will look like. And I don't know when they're going to arrive, but the order has been put in. So,
okay.
But I'm not going to be selling like a normal way you sell them. But I'll talk about that later on my channel.
Are they going to be silver colored like your
No, look at if you look at my channel, my icon, that is the coin.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, your channel icon right now is like a silvery color, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a black. It's a sort of a black and silver, and
right.
The background is smoke. So
I love it.
That's exactly what it'll look like.
I will be buying one for sure because I like your other one. I think it's unique among all the other ones.
In fact, that image is my coin. That image came from the coin.
Okay, cool.
So
I've been thinking about changing my color from like brown to more like a blue. Just because I don't love the blue, the brown. I thought brown would work because it's whiskey, but
So in terms of like the wood background,
yeah.
How many channels have they almost like the exact same interior decorator? It looks like.
I know, right? Yeah.
Which is fine. You know, I mean, it goes on with barrels and and particularly the bourbon guys, because barrels, the new oak is a new, major contributor to the character of bourbon. So it makes sense to have that sort of wood background. I think it looks really, really, really nice. But everybody kind of has that very similar look to it. And it looks great.
Right.
Like Chris Bourbon Insane, his looks really, really, really nice.
It does look nice. Yeah.
Really,
He's got a big room for that though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ben Sacro is asking, is Connemara similar to perhaps a Kalila? I would say no. It's a different type of, I don't know if it's a different type of peat actually, but it definitely smells differently. But if that's the only peated whiskey that you have, then by all means drink along with us.
It's glorious. This is the stuff I use to introduce people to peat usually because I want to try out something soft if I'm not sure. Like if they like black coffee and stuff, I'm like, here, try that. Try it before I see what happens.
Approach, actually. Yeah.
So Connemara, in terms of the way the whiskey, apart from the peat, is a traditional Irish style whiskey. So texturally, it has the sort of classic. I mean, I just did a whole mouthful of the Redbreast 12 and swallowed it. I'm kind of feeling it a little bit. So texturally, it feels like an Irish, and the fruit is like an Irish. But then you have that peat in there, which reminds you of course, of Scotland. So for me, from my memory of when I had it before, that's sort of basically what I. So I don't think you would in a million years confuse it for an Islay whiskey.
No, not at all. One thing that I find interesting about the nose of a Connemara, if you're not going into it knowing that it's a peated Irish and that it's going to be different, if you smell this, it smells almost like an Irish whiskey that's just a little off. It doesn't smell like a peated Irish whiskey. It smells like somebody screwed something up a little bit.
Somebody would say that about all peated whiskeys.
That's fair, but I like that a lot of the Ardbegs and such smell like smoke. This doesn't smell like smoke.
It might think it's like at a bar, someone's smoking a cigarette, and they put it out, they drop it in, like they're a jackass because like somebody previously used his glass and they dropped a cigarette in it, and now somebody just poured whiskey into it, and now I'm getting that remnants from the cigarette previously.
Yes. I like that.
Wow, it's good.
So Brian, do you have a Connemara as well? I saw you had the bottle.
I did. I just poured a little for myself.
Perfect.
This is one of my absolute favorites.
So what's your take on Connemara?
I really like it simply because it was just knowing it was the only peated Irish out there that I could find. I think that I'm aware of. Immediately made me interested. I already liked Irish. I'd already had experience with the Freud, Ardbeg, and all that. So finding something that's kind of like the go-between was really beneficial in my journey. And once I found a bottle, I bought it.
Nice.
Immediately.
It's funny. I put out the video on Connemara, what's today? Saturday. So like 3 days ago. And of course, immediately after saying exactly what I found to be the truth was that they were the only peated Irish whiskey in Ireland. Somebody immediately referenced some other completely unknown distillery that I couldn't possibly have known about. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't care.
Something you'll never see in the market and nobody can ever find.
Exactly. It's like, you know what? If you're some dude in a basement, like making your own whiskey and you sell like a couple hundred barrels a year, like you're not worldwide.
Right.
There is one I tried. There is one I tried recently, just a couple days ago. I think it was Thursday, but it was a West Cork, and it's not that it's peated, but like they didn't peat the grains or anything, but it was put in, I think, some kind of barrel that had some peat something or other done to it.
Probably Lafroig. A lot of people use Lafroig barrels to call themselves peated.
Yeah.
There's a Glenlivet Nadura peated, and they do the same thing. They don't use peated barley. They put it into a cask that previously had peated Scotch in it.
Yeah, it was one of those, and it was actually really good. I was very happy I got to sample it. It was not even close to what this is like, but it was certainly another Irish where I was like, oh, finally something else that's similar. This is great, and I wanted to get the bottle, but
Donna Rand says Dunnaville's
I think that was the one.
Is peated, as is the West Cork's peat cask right now.
Oh yeah, that must have been it.
At your local liquor store anywhere in the country. So Bill, you should have known.
I know, right? Damn it, I'm terrible at my job.
That's why it's so hard to do videos in general, because you're like, yes, it's the only peated, and I like, wait a minute, oh gosh, someone else knew about something.
Well, what's worse is the people who correct you like a year later to be like, oh, well, how did you not know about this thing that wasn't even out when you recorded the video?
Right.
These things aren't dynamic, people. Come on.
The other thing is, because there's a lot going. I have a map of Scotland on my wall where I work. It's 2 years old and it's out of date. There's all these missing distilleries, and so websites aren't always up to date. The internet's always not up to date. You might find something that says something. So doing research, you got to constantly check the dates and hope for the best. And books quickly become obsolete. There's a lot going on right now in Scotland and Ireland, so always have to kind of double check things because things change so rapidly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't do it every time, but there's certainly times where if I make some sort of claim, I'll say like, here in December 2019, this is the only peated Irish whiskey that there is, or whatever, and that way people don't quite correct me, but they still do. Who cares?
At the time of this recording.
Right. Yeah. So what do you guys think of this Irish whiskey?
Connemara is glorious. The weird thing is you started talking about like strange sorts of, I think you said cigarettes and that kind of thing. And immediately I thought of a cigarette tray that's, full of water, like it rained, and it's full of, those cigarette butts. And I had that kind of thing pass through my mind. I was like, no, that's still good.
I find it to be I find this to be odd. Because I'm used to a Scotch that has a little bit of malty character in there. It's the text. To me, this is like you take a hamster and breed it with a rhinoceros.
What?
It's just things that kind of, does this really go together? But that's because of my previous experience. There are certain things I always associate with peat, whether it's even if it's not the medicinal character, because that's not always there. But there's other characteristics that I tend to tie in with peated whiskey, and this doesn't have it, and so that's why it seems a little bit, a little odd, But
I gotta say, Eric, I don't think I heard a word you said. I was trying to think of the best portmanteau of a rhinoceros and a hamster that I could, and the best I came up with was Ramsnosterist. But that might just be the whiskey talking.
Anyway.
But it's a giant
hamster. For a thing like that, and not just give like a pregnant pause, because I gotta compute that. And you gotta think about the how does that work? Like, is somebody just throwing the hamster at it? Is that
like I immediately thought mad scientist. Some guy was just like, let's put this together and this together, and wow. Okay.
I've done it.
Whiskey Steve says Hamperosaurus. There you go. I like that. But what we have to think is, how would they naturally mate out in the wild?
Some work.
Some
And who would mount who?
some Barry White, I guess, like little.
You know, so I mean, it's not a quality assessment. That's just to me, it just seems odd. Because
Yeah, I can kind of get where you're going with that because it is. I actually like the way that you put that because when you're dealing with a peated Scotch, you do have that maltiness that kind of it brings it down a little bit. It's like a little heavier, so it
Right.
almost can take the peat. Whereas with Irish, you're distilling it.
It just
Actually, 2 or 3 times. I forget if this is twice or 3 times distilled. It's double distilled. So but you're still making it lighter to the point where now you're just getting all the peat, and it's very different than a Scotch.
But it almost be like a peated bourbon. I mean, you don't typically equate peat with bourbon, so to have a peated bourbon would be really strange.
True.
I'm sure. I'm saying, but the thing doesn't exist. Nobody makes a peated bourbon, but someone in here will jump in there and name some freaking bourbon that some oddball person made out there that I've never heard of. I bet you. What is there a peated bourbon? I don't know. Somebody do it.
So Donald Rance, I believe, actually he backed off a little bit because he said that the 3 Crowns was actually finished in a peat barrel, which is not peated Irish whiskey. So I'm happy that it might have actually. I don't know, Donald, were you the one that commented that on the video? Because I know I've seen your name a few times, but I feel like it was somebody completely unknown to me.
But the Nadura peated doesn't use a peated barley. It still has the peat character, but it's coming from a cask. I still consider it peated. It's just coming from a different source. One's coming from the infusing smoke onto the barley. The other one's come from the cask. So it's still peated.
Sorry, Jamie Williams says that's one Animal Planet show I won't be watching. That's great. So as far as Irish whiskeys go, so actually, Brian, I've got a question for you. So how much experience do you have with Irish whiskeys, and do you have a personal favorite at the moment?
I'm going to default to blaming Rex for the fact that I really like Redbreast 12 cast strength. That was his fault.
Yeah,
but
as
for other experiences, I mean, over the years, I got the green spot. I got the red spot once upon a time. What else is hiding over here? Rowan Co. is in here somewhere. I have this one that I haven't opened. That was my dad's. Like and it's you might like this. It's got the Red Sox label on it for some odd reason.
I saw that. I have not bought that specifically because I'm just like, boy, what would you even call it? Like a cash grab,
Yeah. My dad knows I have no interest in sports. So
same here. I'm a director of software engineering.
There you go.
Very much not in my blood.
No. My brother and my father like sports, but I do not have any interest. I play my own games on the computer rather than watching other people play.
Yep.
But I was just saying, one of the things also is the finish with the Ardbeg. In the finish of a peated Scotch, that peat really kind of lingers, and if you breathe in and out, you get it. This kind of, I would say, the fruit sticks around more than the smoke does for me.
Totally.
I like the fact that there's this weird thing I had in high school. This is going to sound extremely strange, but for whatever reason in high school, you had French fries, you had lunch, you get ketchup, and I poured a lot of pepper into my ketchup all the time. No reason. I like pepper. I don't know why, but I always get little peppery notes from anything that's been peated, and that tends to linger. Even with this, it's just little, but it's always something I like to feel after the fact. The finish and such. But that was my weird thing, is I like pepper apparently. So getting pepper notes off peat is always fun. Interesting.
I've actually never put pepper in ketchup, but I might try that tomorrow. So one thing with this whole coronavirus is that I have a whole lot of frozen food, including tater tots, French fries, all those kind of things. So, ketchup is a thing I'll be probably having quite a bit of late in the next couple weeks. So I will absolutely try putting pepper in my ketchup just because of you, Brian.
I guarantee you there's like pepper ketchup out there somewhere. I don't know where, but that was like a thing in high school. Like everyone just started doing it. Like I did it. Other people started doing it. Everyone liked it. And I've always had this thing for putting pepper in like eggs and everything I eat almost.
Yeah. I wish that I would have had the Connemara coming out a little bit like now and maybe somehow gone with the name being more like coronavirus, like Connemara, I don't know, something like that. Eric, you did a great thumbnail for your coronavirus one. Comparatively to your other videos, did that one do better? Because I had it in my head to do some video that was essentially like drinking high proof whiskey to fight the coronavirus, like in the hopes of picking up on the algorithm.
You talking about the top 10?
What?
My top 10 video?
No, was it? I don't know.
Are you talking about my interaction with the guy who made some stupid comments on my channel?
No. That was hilarious, by the way. I watched that at work because like I don't often watch this stuff at work because I'm usually too busy, but I made it a point to be like at lunchtime, I am watching this video. It was I'm almost there.
By the way, I think Brian is right. Now that I think of it, I don't get to watch smoke. I do get that little bit of pepper in there, so I think he's right. I am getting that little bit of pepper on the finish there.
Yeah, so it was your top 10.
Okay.
Yep. Did that one do better for you than normal?
Dude, it did 5 times better than my previous 4 videos. It's just,
I was going to do it, and I know that YouTube will, what do you call it? Demonetize you if you cover things like this. And so I purposefully didn't do it. And I also thought to myself, I'm like, this isn't really the nature of my channel. I probably shouldn't just do this because it just didn't fit, right? And I just opted to not do it altogether. I told my wife, I was like, should I do this? I really feel like I shouldn't do it. She was like, you shouldn't do it. And then I saw your video and I was like, well, I missed the boat, but I'm curious how Eric's video.
Well, I now created a playlist. I had previous videos that were more. I mean, I've always got in live chats, I yuck it up. In my normal videos, I don't put that much comedy in them, but I got, I don't know, half a dozen or so more comedic videos. So I've created a playlist. So someone go in and watch my previous, like I did, I did the thing on the McAllen, Make the Call.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that where the guy jumping off the cliff and all that kind of stuff? I made that one. And I actually have a couple more coming up. No spoilers though, within the next couple of weeks that'll come up. But I've always cracked jokes. I mean, this Scotch Test Dummies called me the sniper because I put in the one-liners, It's just not been like a whole themed video. But I'm not going to try to make comedic videos. It's whenever I get a stupid, funny thought, I'll just make a video and it'll be what it is. And I'll put it in that playlist. So it's just a matter of having a playlist for it. And so then it fits. It fits. It went into that.
No, you're pretty much a permanent invite as far as I'm concerned on my live streams because you are comedy incarnate.
Right. Well, I think the thing is because on the academic sense, take whiskey so serious, you can go so polar in being so serious about whiskey and studying and history and culture and language and production and science, and which is great. I love it. But holy smokes. We're not curing cancer. We're not solving the world's problem. It's not that important.
You're shoving your hand up the ass of a stuffed rabbit.
Let's lighten it up a little bit. It's not be totally serious all the time. And so to bring counterbalance is bring in some comedy and joke and lighten up that it's thing to be enjoyed and just joke around and hang out. Not be so too geeky all the time.
It's funny when I was doing my end of year recap video. I found myself watching that live stream we did at Halloween time when you were doing that. And it was probably a 3-hour live stream. And I think I watched
it 3 times all the way. Well, I was listening.
I watched 3/4 of it just editing the video because I was like, this is so funny.
And they were completely spontaneous. We didn't plan it. It just worked out.
It was so good, man. Yeah, it was good. You're right. You coming on was completely spontaneous. Yeah.
But Bobby and Sam, it just made sort of good chemistry for the night, and just sort of letting loose,
So Brian, I have a question for you.
Oh God,
tell me about the mustache. I think everybody here is wondering about it. I think we have to know why was that a choice you made?
It actually wasn't really a choice. It was this weird kind of progression throughout my life. So again, we'll go back to high school. In high school, I had long hair. I wore a black trench coat.
How old are you?
Huh?
How old are you?
I'm 39.
Okay, so I'm 36. So yeah, we're close enough.
Yeah, I'll be 40 this year. Woo. But I graduated in '99. and I did like a spoof for my senior picture. So I just started like growing out little, little things like this right on my upper lip. There's just like fuzz in my senior photo. And it was just a stupid joke because I never had that on my face throughout the whole of high school. And then within the past, I guess 3 years, when I started getting into whiskey, and everyone seems to have a beard, everyone has like a thing of some sort. What I did is I just stopped shaving.
Yeah,
and would see what would happen. The beard, no, just all over the place. This I've had for a long time, and this just kind of became its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just grew, and as soon as it got longer, I was like, God damn it! All right, might as well just go mustache it up and get the wax and do the whole thing and give myself the twirl. It just kind of formed naturally, and I just kind of roll with it. I didn't really intend for it to be that way, but it is. So, I guess it's just a character thing now.
Okay, that's fair. I could see that. The couple times where I've shaved this off, it's really, I just look, it's not good. Like, it makes me look way younger, and I could see not changing the facial hair. So, I don't know. So, for anybody in the chat, are you guys drinking Irish whiskey along with us, or are you drinking something completely different? That Connemara is good stuff. Yeah. As far as the spot whiskeys go, like, I like the green spot. I think it's worth somebody buying, but the yellow spot, of the three, the yellow spot is the only one I really would just encourage people to buy.
That's the one I've only been able to sample. I actually bought the green spot. I bought the red spot probably a little over a year ago. I finished it off a while ago. But I haven't found the yellow spot. Like, it hasn't crossed my path, so I haven't bought
Yellow
it.
spot's tough to find. Like, so the Total Wine near me does not have it. The Julio's Liquors in Westboro does. So let's see. We got ECB.
I was driving up to was it Braintree? I'd go up to Braintree and go to the Total Wine because that's the closest one. They don't exist in Rhode Island.
Braintree. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's probably not far from you.
No. I was thinking for a second. There was a place I used to rock climb. It wasn't Braintree. It was crap.
A mini bottle.
Brighton, maybe. I don't know. It had like 60-foot climbing walls, which made it freaking awesome. But that was actually the place I stopped rock climbing because the person who was spotting me, who was belaying me, he was talking to the guy next to him, and he just dropped me about, no exaggeration, about 50 feet. And I was just like, total free fall. And he stopped me about 10 feet from the ground. And boy, did I just absolutely rip into him, which I am a very, very calm individual. But that was pretty much, I had it in my head that I was going to hit the ground, and I was trying to decide which part of my body I was going to sacrifice. And I decided on my legs, because I was like, all right, I'm going to land legs first. I'm going to try to roll, and I'm probably going to break my legs, but
your ankles at least. Yeah.
Thankfully he stopped me. And I remember, like, those ropes don't stretch very much. They're designed to stretch, but they don't stretch a ton. And I remember I stretched enough that I like almost hit him. I was about even with his head. And then I kind of went up about 4 or 5 feet, and then he lowered me down the rest. And man, I didn't climb again for almost like 6 months after that. It was hard to get over.
A little trauma for your day.
Right? Like, that's a long way to fall.
So Simon Del Vecchia says, does Connemara use Irish peat, or is that peat from Scotland? I actually don't know.
It's Irish peat, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's actually there's an area of Ireland called Connemara, and that's where it's from. Okay. That's actually why they call it that.
So both Crowded Barrel and, I'm going to bring Texas in there now. I'm going to start referring to Texas almost as much as I do about wine. Both Andalusia and the Crowded Barrel are using Irish peat. So the Crowded Barrel will be coming up with a whiskey as well. Yeah.
Andalusia is one of the ones
you can buy Irish peat from Amazon.
Yes.
You can buy a brick of it.
Interesting. I did not know that. I'm turning up the heat in my house. It's cold.
I have my little sample.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah. The benefit of being a patron of the Whiskey Tribe, they give you weird stuff. I have the grains they used, all kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Part of the barrel.
Ben the Demon Hunter cracked open a sample of Connemara with us. Awesome.
Oh, cool.
Oh, good stuff.
Now, I've seen a few people recommend, what was it, Powers three birds or 3 swallows or something like that.
Sparrows?
Sparrows, thank you. Yeah, I knew it wasn't swallows because that would have been funny. But I
1, 2, 3.
Right. I haven't tried the 3 sparrows before. Anybody in the chat or Brian, have you tried it? It sounds like you might.
No, I've heard of it. Like it came across my radar with I think I listen to Whiskey Cast, and every now and then little tidbits he just throws at me, and that was one of the ones he had. He asked a question: "Is why do power bottles have the 3 birds on it?"
Okay, it is swallows actually. So I will. Oh, second time tonight that I've doubted my initial thought and been wrong.
I just thought Jack Sparrow. I don't know why.
I almost bought it the other day. I was going to do it with this year's Irish whiskeys, and I didn't because I realized I hadn't even covered Redbreast before on this channel, and that seemed more necessary. So, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't reviewed this one either. I just hadn't gotten around to it. I'll probably kill it before I get around to reviewing it.
Yeah, well, I find it looks like some of these is I like them so much I forget to review them. It's like I like it, I don't need to review it. I know I like it, but then there's no proof. There's no evidence of why I like it, what I like about it. None of that. And for me, it's not education. It's more humor and just the experience that I'm sharing with others because I'm a complete amateur as far as drinking this stuff goes, and having any knowledge is just kind of osmosis almost.
Nice.
So I blended the Redbreast with the Connemara and then dropped in a couple ice cubes just for giggles to try it.
I imagine that just tastes like Connemara.
No, I'm getting a different texture from the Redbreast that I'm actually looking for.
I'm going to join you.
It's what I'm looking for in a peated whiskey. A little bit more of a grainy maltiness than what you get just from the Connemara. So I actually kind of prefer this mix. Although, yeah, it does tame down the peat character a little bit. But if I really want peat, I'm going to go Ardbeg or Milo.
I know it's not a definite, but I know I've heard enough people say don't add ice to your peated stuff because it does something weird. Some people like it, and again, to each his own, as it were. But every time I put ice in peated stuff, it doesn't seem the same, and I don't like it as much.
I find it depends on the bottle. If they do any sort of filtering, it definitely is a no-no. Using ice is best for whiskeys that aren't filtered because when they're doing the filtering or chill filtering, they're removing some of the oils and so forth. And so when you put ice and you get really, really cold, it kind of screws up the texture of it, I find.
Yeah.
And so if you still have the oils, then it works really, really well. So for like the Iron Root, Harbinger, and these cat strength ones, I much prefer it on ice. Not just in terms of temperature, but it actually sort of makes the textural elements of it even more pronounced. And I love the way the mouthfeel is on those whiskeys.
Especially for Bayou Drams, we're drinking the cask strength Redbreast 12 year. So I'm drinking I decided to join you, Eric. I did the Redbreast 12 mixed with the Connemara in the extremely comfortable to hold Whiskey Dictionary Rocks glass, which is for sale at thewhiskeydictionary.com.
There you
go. But actually legit, it sucks that more people haven't bought these because I actually think this is probably one of the best rocks glasses I've ever had. It's super heavy, which I don't know about you guys. I like that. It's like it maintains some of the cold. But anyway, so let me you said that it kind of gives it a different mouthfeel than you were expecting. Is that what you said?
So the texture of the Redbreast, I think, shows up. And then the smoke part is kind of sticks around in the background and in the finish and the follow through from the Connemara. It's not as glossy or oily or silky.
I think I put too much Connemara in it.
You might have.
Yeah, because I'm not really getting any of the 12.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
I did more than 50. I did more than 50% with the Connemara. So.
You put more than 50% Connemara?
No, I mean Redbreast.
The other way. Okay. Yeah, I did probably about 50-50. So, yeah.
What's funny is I usually drink most of my whiskeys with a little bit of ice just because I like it. I have a weird thing about texture and not texture, but temperature sometimes. Sometimes having just a straight room temperature thing weirds me out. Right now it's fine. But as I first got into whiskey, I usually use rocks just to get used to it. Before it was, cocktails. They were like steps, cocktails, ice, and now it's, either or.
So, Bill, let me ask you a question. So, I knew it coming, and I didn't care. I was expecting it. That when I went into this real long Texas whiskey marathon, the audience that has that much interest in it is very small.
Yep.
Right? Whiskeys aren't available, and so I knew things would slow down. But hey, you know what? That's what happens. Irish whiskey is not as popular as Scotch or bourbon. Bourbon right now, the bourbon channels are just killing it. Like Bourbon Junkies and so forth. Did you see or perceive any perceptions in rate of growth or so? And these people don't care about that shit. But
some of the worst episodes I've ever released have been during my Irish whiskey months.
Yeah,
which makes me question every year why I continue to do it. So I've done it for 3 years now, and every year I'm just like it. Like it gets to the point where I honestly consider I'm like, should I even be doing this anymore? This is like awful. Oh my God. Like in a whole, so my normal video, if I don't do 1,000 views in the first 24 hours, that I consider that a fail. So that's where
for me, that's a big hit.
well, I know it sounds a little ridiculous, but like that's, I've just found that to be my average. If it's under 1,000, I consider that to be a bad video. The good thing about the Irish whiskey stuff is I do think that Irish whiskey is going to start growing over the next couple of years, and that more people will eventually find those videos. Right. So they're fine. They're an investment. I personally like Irish whiskey. I find that it's an interesting thing to talk about, and nobody else seems to really talk about it. So I like doing Irish Whiskey Month, but it makes me think that I should also do friggin' Bourbon Month and just try to do a friggin' video every single day if I can. But the editing takes a lot out of me, though. Like I have a video due tomorrow, and I recorded it tonight, but I haven't edited it yet. It's going to take me an hour at least to edit it, if not more. I haven't actually filmed the intro to it yet. I'm going to have to film it tomorrow morning. So
then you're really going to have another motive or reason why you're doing it rather than just growth of a channel.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's tough to... I like whiskey, but I like YouTube too. I mean, it's a little of both. Killajolt points out an interesting fact. An Irish whiskey was by far my most popular video, which was the Proper 12. Okay. That's mostly just because that guy's an asshole.
I gotta say.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy, but everything I've seen about him is like, man, he's really angry for no reason. Come on, man. Calm down.
Yeah, man. It's funny because I look at that video occasionally and I'm just like, oh, how's that video still doing? It's like, oh, it's still one of my probably top 10 every single month as far as revenue earners. And my definitive bourbon buying guide, a beginner bourbon buying guide, is usually my top one along with the Scotch one. And then whatever else I've done that month. But Proper 12 has been up there for me since a year and a half ago. So
you can do a video. You can do a video. It doesn't do that well in 24 hours, but a year later, all of a sudden, for whatever reason, people are interested in it. And so I did one on whiskey and Coke.
Yep.
Which I also put in my comedy section because it's more comedic.
Yeah.
And yeah, that one didn't do that well, but all of a sudden, it was around the holidays.
Yep.
People started watching it, and I think it's because seasonally, people having parties, that kind of a thing, and so people start paying attention to it. So sometimes it's more of not the video, it's the timing.
Well, I did a video that was Jack and Coke versus Evan Williams and Coke, and basically talking about which bourbon makes a better bourbon and Coke. And it's funny because during that video, I said something like, I've got the Jack Old number 7 and the Evan Williams Black Label. And I said something like, nobody drinks either one of these straight. and boy, was I wrong. and it's true. Like, I mean, I've drank both of those straight before, but it's not like where I wanted to end up. It was more of on the way to where I wanted to aspire to be. Right. And I've gotten a lot of comments where like, you know, like, I totally drink this straight. You're a jerk. It's like,
how dare you? I have opinions about what your opinions are.
Yeah, it's like you're entitled to your opinion, but have you tried anything else? Because I guarantee you it won't take much effort to find something better.
Yeah, I Jack Daniels, the old number 7 and Coke, really, really like it. Because the Coca-Cola gets rid of that airplane glue character to it.
Yep.
But on its own, I'm not a big fan.
The only reason I've ever had Jack straight is because my aunt used to drink it. Like my grandmother's sister used to have Jack Daniels on the rocks at every Thanksgiving dinner. This was, she passed away years ago. But after she did, we had a little toast of Jack Daniels just straight. And that was one of the few times I tried it. I'm like, not that bad, actually.
No, it's really, I mean, to be fair, it's totally fine. It's just not good. It's kind of like, I don't know. Like if you drink Folgers coffee, you'd be like, yeah, it's coffee, it's fine, but it's not like a locally roasted, artisan coffee, and nor is it claiming to be. So,
back in the 80s when I was in the Marine Corps, it was Maxwell House and Folgers crystals, and all that stuff. Starbucks didn't exist. None of the Pete's didn't exist. I've seen people turn their nose up at Starbucks or whatever. Oh, they overdo it. It seems like it's all burnt, whatever. I'm like, you should drink coffee from the Navy. I was in the Marine Corps, but we had Navy run chows. Yeah. You should try Marine Corps coffee or Navy coffee. You would kill for a Starbucks. Or out of an MRE, packet. We basically you take a MRE packet coffee. You put it in something, and you take your canteen, put some water in it.
Add water.
It might be cold, it might be hot. But if it's lights out because you're playing war games or whatever, and you're not supposed to light up so you can't be seen, there's your coffee, man.
Man, I gotta tell you, if I was in war, I would be hyped up on caffeine as much as humanly possible. Because I can't even imagine, like, I code better when I'm high on caffeine. Like I can't imagine like having to fight somebody. I'd be like just, I don't know. The only time I've really drank Jack straight was my last company that I used to work for. It was a small company. It was like 13 people, and every year we would do this awesome trip. It was a golf outing to Foxwoods in Connecticut. It's like a casino. But they have this really, really nice golf course. It's completely secluded in the woods. I think it's like $200 for 18 holes. It's pretty expensive. And my bosses, they would drive around, excuse me, in their golf cart. They wouldn't even play. They would drive around with their with a bag full of beers and a bag full of nips. And depending on who they were talking to, they would just drive by and they would just throw stuff at us. And with me, they just threw like 3 different nips of Jack Daniels and, Dewar's White Label at me. And I'd be like, all right, just throw them back. And those were great. In that scenario, I'm golfing, I'm out on the green, I'm hanging out with people that I like, and I'm drinking heavily. I liked Jack Daniels. And I had a flask on me of Jack Gentleman Jack, actually, at the time, because that was what I was drinking. It was long before the channel. And I liked it, It was almost like where you drink like a Budweiser. Like Budweiser is not good beer, but it's good enough beer depending on the scenario. If you just finish mowing the lawn, Budweiser is fine because it's
very cold, it's hot outside.
Exactly, right? It all depends on the scenario.
Have you tried Jack Daniel's coffee? I did a review of Jack Daniel's coffee.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's a thing. In fact, I still have the coffee mug. I ordered a Jack Daniel's coffee mug. Jack Daniel's coffee. It has like actual into the grounds, an infusion of Jack Daniel's character to it. And I actually did a comparison with the Jack Daniel's whiskey, and you can kind of see the character from Jack Daniel's whiskey. It's pretty good, but it's basically, if you're not into heavily flavored coffee, you're not going to like it. But
I'm kind of I'll do anything. Like same with whiskey. Like what's the word? Crap. I forget. I just too much whiskey tonight.
Doesn't hurt to try. You know.
There you go.
I'm not gonna remember.
Whatever.
Stop thinking about it, and then it'll come to you.
Yeah,
that always works for me. I know for when you were talking about coffee, my only comparisons was: do you want like diner coffee or restaurant coffee, or do you want to go to the local cafe where they have literally the thing that is roasting the beans right there? Which would you like?
Yeah.
I know for me personally, I usually just drink espresso with either whipped cream or milk.
Yeah, I haven't done espresso in a long time. I often go to Starbucks, but I don't do the espresso. I'll do like a red eye with an iced coffee sometimes. That's fun. But I don't know. That's during the summer.
It's about 9:30. I've been sleep deprived most of the day.
I know. I was just thinking. I'm like, I think I'm about wrapping up here.
So I don't want to do another one. Be just feeling like crap.
Yeah, we don't want to do another 4-hour live stream. All right. Well, thank you guys both for joining me here. Yeah, Eric, why don't you? I mean, everybody here knows you, I'm sure, but just in case.
Yeah, Eric Waite Whiskey Studies. So if I say hi in the chat, if you go to the right of where I said hi, you'll see your cursor. There's 3 little white dots.
Oh, yeah.
You can click one of those white dots, and it'll say show you the channel, and that'll bring up a channel. Brian, do the same thing. Just type in their hi.
Mm-hmm.
Type their hi, and then someone can go to the farthest right, find the 3 little white dots, click on one of those. It'll give you the option. You can bring up another window. That'll show you the channel, and then you can subscribe to the channel. So if you want to check out our channels, there you go.
So fun fact, that's called a kebab menu.
Kebab?
Yep. So, the 3 horizontal lines are called a hamburger menu. The 3 vertical dots are called a kebab menu.
Never heard of that one. Okay.
This is what you get with me, Mr. Computer Guy. So
there you go.
It's funny because I'll say this around people that I work with, and it's like not even a new thing.
Of course, you could be totally bullshitting me.
The dots should be bigger. Like, oh yeah, totally. So anyway, all right. Brian, do you have anything you want to say?
You can find me here on YouTube, and you can find me on Twitch as well. I do live streams like this, except usually playing PC games and stuff. It's much more casual, just chit-chatty, kind of like this without, 3 cameras. But it's kind of like the cross-platform. It's like I grew up doing PC games. I love doing whiskey, and I'm on YouTube very often. Same with Eric, where I'm usually in the chat, just chit-chatting with all the other channels and having a lovely time.
Nice. Well, Brian, I'm glad you could join us tonight. I know we've been talking for a little bit, so I'm glad you could pop in tonight. It's been fun.
Cheers, man.
So I'm honored, I guess, to end this night of whiskey drinking that started around noon today. Some of you have been here for the entire day, and you are better people than me. So I've got some cleanup to do. I'm sure you guys do too. And thank you very much for joining us here on the Whiskey Dictionary.
Don't forget to wash your hands.
Don't forget, and make sure that you buy as much toilet paper as you possibly can, because reasons. So, all right, bye everybody, and make sure you use your antibacterial for your antivirus by all means. Bye. All right, we are off.